economy of a country can be further be classified into organized and unorganized sector. See, the one way of classifying is primary, secondary, and tertiary. How are we classifying it? Based on the economic activities. Another way of classifying economy is organized and unorganized. So what is organized? Organized is when those activities or those companies which are registered are called as organized. Unregistered economic activities are called as unorganized. Is that okay? When it is registered, a company comes under different laws. It has to follow the laws and the rules within those laws. So there is a lot of protection for whom? For the employees, workers in those companies. Understood? So organized, like you go to Infosys. Infosys is a company which is registered under the Companies Act, which has to abide by the Labor Act, PF Act, so many Wages Act and all that. So it has to abide by it. It cannot violate. So those are organized. The maid who comes to your house, let's say, okay, it is an unorganized sector. So those enterprises which are registered by the government and follow the rules and regulations, they are called as organized sector. Whereas those enterprises which are not registered with the government, they are called as your unorganized, like your farmlands, farms. Okay, then a domestic help, salesman in the grocery store, small grocery stores. So they are all your unorganized sector. So organized sectors, they come under various laws like Factory Act, Company Act, Bonus Act, Provident Fund Act, minimum. So several laws are there which regulate their activities. Therefore, there is a lot of protection to the employees. See, in India, if a company has more than 10 employees, okay, with electricity, they have to be registered. Those companies with 20 employees without, I mean, this is with respect to manufacturing actually, manufacturing company with 20 and no electricity or 10 with electricity has to be registered. A service company with more than 10 employees have to register. Okay, this is not by default. This is voluntary. They have to register actually by rule. Okay, so sometimes what happens, they don't show employment because they don't want to grow. Indian companies are like this because the laws are so old and rigid that companies don't want to grow. They'll say, we'll remain 10 up 11. If we go into 11, we will come under so many laws. Big headache. Labor inspector will come checking. Okay, Provident Fund fellow will come checking. Okay, companies will come, company law, IT Act, so many laws will come. So they'll say, oh, no, let me remain small. So Indian companies don't want to grow. But things are changing because of the present government and their reform measures. Laws are being amended to make it more business friendly. Okay, so in the future, yes, it'll happen. We need to make the laws more business friendly. You know, for example, many states, including Karnataka, women employment, I mean, now it has changed, but women were not allowed to be employed after, I think, 6, 7, whatever. In night shift, they could not be employed. So basically, you are eliminating what? 50% of the employable population. Okay. So you might have heard about these SEZs, Special Economic Zones. In Special Economic Zones, all these laws are relaxed. So that's why you can find women going to jobs even in the night shift and all that. But only in those places, not in other places. So we need to relax it. Relaxation is happening. Okay, so let's see in the future. All right, so rules are not followed in case of unorganized. Remuneration is what? monthly regular salary is there, whereas unorganized daily wages. There's no fixed wage and all that. Your maid and all, it depends on the bargaining skill, yours or the maid's. Whoever will bargain more will get more. But here, fixed salary is the minimum wage you have to give. Is that okay? So these are the things with respect to organized and unorganized sector. There is another way of classifying the economy, formal and informal sector. Just so now you understood, organized means registered, unorganized means unregistered. Formal, informal means where you have fixed relationship between employer and employee is formal. Where there is no fixed relationship is informal. I'll give you an example. Infosys company will have employees who are getting monthly salary, who are permanent staff. So that is a part of the organized formal sector. But Infosys will also hire a transportation company. Okay, their cab drivers will come. Okay, they are temporary, part-time, outsource. So are they employees of Infosys? Technically, no. Can they be removed anytime? Yes. Do they enjoy security? Do they have any fixed relationship between the company? No. That represents what? That represents informal economy. What is informal economy? Without any proper relationship or fixed relationship, rather fixed relationship between the employer and the employee, like consultancy, outsourcing. That is informal. Okay. So formal means they have organized system of employment. Organized system of employment with clear written rules of recruitment, agreement, job responsibility. It has a standardized relationship between employer and the employees in maintaining through formal contracts. The employee is expected to work for fixed hours and receive fixed salaries. Permanent government jobs, right? Banking jobs, etc. But within, let's say, a bank, you have bank manager and all that. They are formal sector. But in the bank, you'll also find security guard. They are not employed by the bank. They are outsourced. So you might go to your bank. One day you'll find one security. Tomorrow you'll find some other security. Why? Because they are part of the informal sector. So what I'm trying to tell you over here is that even within the organized sector, there are formal jobs and informal jobs. Agreed? Understood, all of you? Okay, so that is your formal economy. As organized system of employment, standardized relationship, employees is expected to work for fixed hours and receive fixed salaries. In case of informal, okay, the jobs and the workers, they are not regulated and protected by the state. Initially, it was used for self-employed people, contract employees in small unregistered, but today it includes even wage employment in unprotected job. Initially, it was like that, but today even the outsourced jobs, part-time or contract basis. Even software engineers, you might have heard. So they will work on contract basis for 6 months, 1 year. After 1 year, they have to again renew their contract. Otherwise, they lose their job. This is an example of informal jobs. Did you understand? This is example of informal. So initially it was self-employed and this one, but today it also includes wage employment in unprotected contract labors. So they do not have fixed wages. They do not have fixed hours, mostly rely on daily earnings. Mostly, I mean, it's not a rule as such. Okay, it has also been described as gray economy. It's also described as gray economy. What is black economy? You all might have heard, right? Black economy, illegal. Okay. So black economy is basically people who are involved in avoiding paying of taxes. Okay. It can be illegal or not also. Somebody who has to pay tax but do not pay tax, that's also black economy. Somebody whose source is illegal, that also is black economy. See, who avoids paying tax? Somebody who avoids paying tax. Somebody wants to hide their income or whose income is illegal, like corruption, terror money, etc. So they obviously cannot declare their source that I did terrorism, so I got so much money, I'll paying tax. Okay, they can't do that. And somebody who is doing transaction in cash. Okay, so that's very much related with this gray economy, the informal sector, etc. So sources may be legal but do not pay tax, or sources itself is illegal. Both are part of black economy. Evasion is when you use certain loopholes within the system to avoid paying your tax, like using tax haven countries, etc., or doing certain investments which makes use of the things. Okay, avoidance when you have to pay tax, but you end up not when you don't pay the tax. Okay, so and illegal money is again very different. So there you don't, obviously you're not paying tax or otherwise. Gray economy, why is it called? I mean, that's the name that they have used it. So the gray economy is something which is not regulated. Something which is not regulated. See, why gray is, you have white, you have black. White is good, black is bad. That's what. Black economy is bad because it harms the economy. White economy is good in a way, right? Then you have middle, gray. Gray is not harmful, but it is the reality. It is the reality. We had to convert this gray into white. Now, for example, somebody who is selling vegetables in the street does transaction in cash, part of gray. They are not a threat, but there is lack of security to him. So we need to bring them into formal system to ensure that they are protected, accounted, whatever. So that's why it's called gray. It's not black. It's not black. It's gray. Black and white. Gray is the middle one. That's why. Something maybe probably because of that. Under the informal sector. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, obviously. That's what. See, Uber is an organized sector, but the employment is informal. That's what. See here. So organized sector can have people from both the sectors, informal and formal. Like Uber, you have employees who are permanent staff or whatever, who are regulated. They are organized sector. But Uber also hires drivers. Swiggy will have 100 employees who are part of their formal system. But Swiggy will also hire thousands of delivery boys who have no security, who will work. If they work, they'll on a daily basis or delivery basis, they get paid. So Uber, Swiggy, whatever, all these Instamart, whatever, they are all organized, but some of the employees, 95% of their employees are informal. You understood? Every sector has it like that. Whether it is banking, whether even government. Why go so far? Government. You go today to any government office, the Group C, Group D employees, they're all outsourced. The data entry operators, okay, the Group C or whatever, the helpers, okay, even the Safai Karamcharis, they are also informal, but they are working for the organized sector because they get wages. They have to get minimum wages and all that. You understood? Employees like security guard, cleaners in Infosys, they get minimum wage. That's why they are organized, but they don't have security. That's why it is informal. Example, a person doing freelancing is a part of both unorganized sector as well as formal sector. Yeah, okay. So this is the conclusion. It will be easy for you to remember. So formal and informal is related to the condition of employment. Formal, security. Informal, no security. Whereas organized, unorganized is related to registration of the firm. In India, it is dependent on what? Size of the company, 10 employees. Okay. So organized, they are registered. Unorganized, not registered. That's all. This is the conclusion of it. Something like this, you can answer. Okay. So again, don't get too obsessed by these data. As soon as we see numbers, no, oh, they are very important. Let me write it down. You can't remember all of them. So be very choosy. Okay, at least in this, to select which topic, which data you need to remember. Okay. So in terms of employment share, employment share, unorganized sector employs 83% in India. Just a data, just to give you an idea. So 83% of the people employed are in unorganized, 17% is in organized. And there are 92%, 92.4% informal workers. In India, out of 100 employees, 94 are in informal. COVID happened, they lost their jobs. You understood? So that's the problem. So with no written contract, paid leaves or other benefits. So that's what happened in COVID. Lockdown happened. Large number of people lost their jobs. How can they lose their jobs? Because they work in informal sector. 9.8 informal workers in organized sectors, indicating high levels of outsourcing. So today it's become a thing, outsourcing. Right. So things like this are necessary from your mains point of view.